Welcome to this week's astrological forecast. My name is Everett Curdy, and let's get into it. The first thing that I want to discuss while it's fresh in my mind is Jupiter's retrograde in the sign of Taurus. Now, this retrograde officially begins on September 4th. And it lasts until December 30th in the sign of Taurus. Now, what happens is it's from 5 degrees of Taurus to 15 degrees of Taurus. So, Jupiter stations retrograde at 15 degrees of Taurus on September 4th. And it goes direct on December 30th at 5 degrees of Taurus. Jupiter entered the pre-shadow phase for the retrograde season on June 11th, and then it leaves the post-shadow phase on March 23rd of next year. So save that. I'm going to come back to that. I just wanted to get that out of my mind. But what I wanted to discuss is I'm going to go in chronological order of the week. This week begins on September 3rd, when Venus stations direct at 12 degrees of Leo. This is a very pivotal moment for the whole retrograde season of Venus in Leo, which started all the way back on June 19th of this year, when Venus entered 12 degrees of Leo. It moved forward, it stationed retrograde on July 22nd at 28 degrees of Leo. It then backtracked. It's going to station direct again on 12 degrees of Leo. It's going to move forward until October 7th, 8th, when it leaves the retrograde shadow at 28 degrees of Leo, very quickly moving into the sign of Virgo. So this is a very pivotal moment where we can see things come to the surface for us in our lives with regards to the lessons and themes that have come up during the Venus retrograde season, and all that we have reviewed in terms of money, love, self-worth, our values, pleasure, all in terms of Leo things, our passions, our creative desires, how we give our heart, what kind of love do we want to receive in our relationships? How do we want to be respected in our relationships? Do we have the joy and the enthusiasm for what we love, or has it fizzled out? And are we adored in our relationships? All these things that we've reviewed during this time with regards to whatever area of life that Venus retrograde falls in your natal chart based off of your rising sign. I discussed this particular transit more in depth in my Venus in Leo transit video, which I will link hopefully in this video and in the description below. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is the Sun trining Moon on September 4th. There are several things going on September 4th. So when the Sun, which rules over our energy, our vitality, our personal power, and our ego, it rules over the sign of Leo. It is how we shine down upon the earth. Whatever sign the Sun enters into, that becomes the focus, and that becomes illuminated for us, during those 30 days. It deals with our masculine principle of what we put forth out into the world. And the moon is very feminine. It's very internal. It deals with emotions. It corresponds to intuition. It deals with who we really are and how we want to nurture and nourish ourselves and others. Now, when the Sun trines the moon, your emotions and conscious motivations are aligned. Your unconscious emotions, feelings, all those things, and your what you want to create, and your purpose and your individuality and how you want to express yourself, those things are aligned. Those things are on the same team. They're in sync with each other. So the masculine and feminine are working well together. Now, another thing is that there's also a greater connection with people in the world, especially around family matters. There's a greater connection to your home, your roots, not only on the external level, on the physical level, but inside of yourself, where you're able to connect with your emotions and feel your emotions better. It's a wonderful time for feeling your feelings and allowing yourself to ride those waves and create from a conscious place of wise manifestation, from that place of being aligned with your true authentic feelings. That's what the sun moon trine can provide us. And it's an earth sign. So the moon's in Taurus, the sun's in Virgo. So we're creating things very practically. When we have Virgo Taurus energy, it is all about really getting into the earth, tapping into the bounty that the earth can provide to us, getting into the physical, getting into the tangible, the practical, getting things done, having a plan, having a list, having a structure, and accomplishing things from A to Z. One of the things that Virgo and Taurus can come together and really create for us is structure. That we wake up at the same day and do this, where we take care of our body and our physical well-being, where we pay attention to the details of our lives. And so there's a greater flow with our emotions with this trine, and trines are really, really positive aspects that provide us with gifts and harmony. They're very easy energy. And so when the moon is in Taurus, the moon is actually exalted in this fixed earth sign. It can be very possessive over material things, yes. It can be materialistic. I want the nice car. I want the, food. I want the roof over my head, whatever. Yes, it can be possessive, but it can also be slowing down and smelling the roses or the coffee. It can be a sensual moon, a sensual placement in and of itself. This lunar transit provides us with a permission slip to take a breath and to slow down and enjoy the process of living our life, to have permission to take things one step at a time, where we don't have to rush, where we don't have to compulsively do one thing after another, where we can enjoy the journey, where we can enjoy the process of doing things and not getting so caught up in, I need this result. I need to get this thing done at this particular time in this particular way. Now, the other thing that's also important with the moon in the sign of Taurus is what will yield those solid long-term results for you. What are you planning to build consciously that will be sustainable, that will be rooted in the earth, that will be very beneficial and practical for you? What long-term structure do you want to create for yourself? And with that long-term structure comes values. What do you truly value in your life? What is truly important to you? What truly matters to you that you are meant to put forth that energy and that effort into attaining that thing? What is important to you and what is not as important to you that you need to put on the back burner? That maybe you don't have to focus on. Maybe focusing on other more important things is actually the way to go. Taurus is about values. Now, the downside of the moon transit in Taurus is over materialism. Getting too caught in the material pleasures of life and allowing those things to define our values and define our sense of self-worth and self-respect. So we can overindulge in these particular things. So where do we need to cut out eating sugar? Or where do we need to do good for our internal bodily system? It also goes back to the Virgo energy, where maybe tonight I shouldn't have dinner and allow my system to relax and have a snack instead, whatever it may be for you. And this theme of overindulgence is one that I'm going to come back to later. But that's one of the things with the Taurus moon is overindulging in such material pleasures. Is it food, where you can, definitely indulge and engage your five senses, taste, touch, and really enjoy an embodied experience of what all this earth has to offer, and really be present with your life in that way. Where you can ground into the physical, ground into the here and now, and pay attention to what's going on in your immediate environment, and open up your five senses. Now, September 4th provides us a beautiful trine of Mercury and Jupiter. So Mercury in Virgo is trining Jupiter in Taurus, and this is part of Mercury's retrograde in Virgo. So when Mercury is trining Jupiter, we get a great opportunity for learning brand new things. This is beautiful for learning and expanding your mind in some way or another. So learning brand new things, especially if it deals with religion or philosophy or history or things like that. So getting out of a rut that we have sort of put ourselves in, where we sort of had a vacuum limited focus for all life. We may feel like we're moving in a different direction. We may feel like we are expanding what we are doing, but we're actually not. This trine may shine a light on where are we stuck in a rut. Where are we not expanding? Where are we not putting our focus into what actually brings us mental purpose? Where it may be time to expand beyond the day-to-day things that we are currently doing and learn something else, expand. So I would definitely invite you to take this opportunity to learn brand new things if you are learning the same old things and going around the same old hamster wheel. Now, Mercury is about the mind. It is about the intellectual mind, the logical reasoning, the things that we do on a day-to-day basis. And it is about the information and the data that we take in and the interactions that we have on a day-to-day basis. And Jupiter is all about luck and expansion. It is all about moving beyond what we already know. It is about moving beyond the knowledge and the structures that we have already created for our lives. It is about expanding beyond that, traveling to new places, going to new cultures. It's about those kind of experiences that enrich our perspective, enlarge our view of life. And Jupiter really is a bestower of good and joy. And it's really up to us to tap into the joy and the blessings and the abundance that Jupiter really has to give to us and sort of, knock at our door and give us these opportunities. It's really up to us to go toward these opportunities and expand our mind in brand new ways. And this can be through travel. This can be through books, whatever it is. And so the other thing that this particular aspect is good for is for socializing, for negotiating. Because what the Mercury-Jupiter trine brings is it brings out the positive aspects of both of those two planets. And both of those two planets relate to open-mindedness. So we can become more open-minded to what people are saying, and to what their advice is, and to what their wisdom and their knowledge is, into what they are sharing to us. So we can become more open-minded and more open to learning and receiving that information and taking it in and applying it to our life in whatever way that we want to, into being open to somebody else's perspective. Or if I were you, I would do this thing. Mercury Jupiter may help with diplomacy. It may help if there's any difficult relationships to have an optimism and to be able to see a perspective that we may otherwise deem as impractical or wrong or crazy, or something that we may disagree with, and something that we may just shove down the table and not be open to. Now's the time to be open to that perspective. Because the downside of Jupiter Sagittarius energy is a dogmatism that, I know what I know and I'm sticking to all that I know. But then when you add Mercury involved, Mercury just is humble. It's just about picking up the information. It's just about picking up the data that it collects in its environment. So when Mercury trines Jupiter, we can have this perspective over life. And we can become more curious and more interested. Now, the other thing is that we can become more open to the blessings and the abundance in our life. We can see the glass half full much easier. We can see all that we have in our life, in the people around us and the things around us, and celebrate that and find the good in our life with whatever habit pattern that we're caught up in, whatever we're dealing with on a mental, emotional level. It's about stepping back and seeing what is actually good in this particular situation. What good is there to look at? What good is there to turn to? What do I have in my life to be grateful for, to be thankful for, to enjoy, to make the most of? Maybe it's taking a break from work and allowing yourself to enjoy certain pleasures and allowing those pleasures to nourish you. So we can see what is really positive and full in our lives. Like flowers in the spring that bloom. What are the flowers that are blooming in our lives? That's a good, really philosophical question. What plants are we watering? And what are the flowers that are coming out of all of that water that we are giving? What is bearing fruit for us? What are the fruits or vegetables that are coming out of those plants in life? What can we, make the most of and celebrate? That's, a huge point with this. So this can be seeing life from a more hopeful and positive outlook. Now, I want to talk about the Jupiter retrograde. So, this is again happening from September 4th to December 30th, and it's happening in Taurus. And I've listed the degrees at the beginning of this video. So, when Jupiter when it turns around, it is an opportunity to look before you leap. to not just, leap off and jump off a cliff because you felt some desire to do so, but to look before you leap, to look at the next right move before you take it. And is this really worth taking? Is this option or is this decision worth taking? Is this going to bring me fulfillment and the results that I'm looking for or not? What is this going to give me? That's really the question. What is this going to give me? So, that's the question. So, looking before you jump into an opportunity that you feel so optimistically about, that, something that you want to take advantage of, a place that you want to travel, a new goal that you have, whatever it may be. So not overdoing it, overindulging, not biting off more than you can chew, not promising things that you can't deliver on, but it is a time to relax and take it easy. Now, because Jupiter is in the sign of Taurus, we can build something from the ground up that is of value to us. Again, we can build that solid foundation and structure that will bear fruit, that we can build, that we can have a goal of something that we want to attain, and we can slowly and steadily put in the work and put in the steps to achieve that while enjoying the process along the way. So, dealing with the practicalities of life, dealing with those particular things and living our life from a more practical perspective. Taurus is an earth sign. So it deals with the things that we are doing and how we're living our life and how we're building our material foundations, and are they sustainable? Are they practical for us? And do we really feel stable and secure with what we're doing? Do we really feel a sense of pleasure and purpose from those current structures and those current paradigms of the status quo of our life, or not? What needs to be shifted around for us regarding that? So, where have we overindulged? Where have you overindulged in something that you knew was not healthy for you, that you knew was just not working for you in your life? Where have you overdone it? And you continue to overindulge and overindulge. Well, now is the time to take the steps so that you do not overindulge. And subconsciously, you may review what Jupiter is trying to have you review, or you may review it consciously. Personally, I'm reviewing it right now in my life. I've overindulged in certain compulsive habit patterns that I'm working on in my life right now to not indulge in. So, it's this, why not, just do what I want to do in the present moment. Well, some things may involve discomfort. Some things may involve discomfort, short-term pain, and sadness and grief and feeling just very uneasy, like you want to indulge in this particular thing, but yet you chose to say no to this because you want to be disciplined and you want something which is going to be better for you for the long term. That is going to bring you joy for the long term. So this can be reevaluation of your financial goals, because Taurus is the money sign, so it rules the financial. So really getting in alignment and very serious about your financial future, if that's something that resonates with you, and what isn't bringing you joy anymore, what isn't worth it. I think the question that people should be asking themselves is it worth it? Is what I am doing, is what I am indulging in, is what I am investing my time and my energy into on the material level when it comes to security, stability, food, pleasure, money, whatever it is that Taurus rules in the particular area that Taurus falls in your chart, is what I am doing worth it? Or should I focus my attention on other things that are more productive and more valuable for me and my spiritual evolution? What do I want to be focusing? What do I really want to be focusing my time and my energy and my attention on? Because when you focus your attention on something, it grows. When you water a plant, it grows. So, what do you want to give life support to, and what don't you want to continue to give life support to? So, when you focus on a particular direction, it grows, it manifests in your reality, and you can manifest. You can do whatever you set your mind to. So, what do you want to attract? What do you want to focus on? And what do you want to put your place, your value? And what is the more valuable things in your life that you need to focus on a material level and build up those goals and work in a very slow and steady direction to achieve? So if there's anything that came up around that, pre-shadow, when Jupiter entered, pre-shadow in June, at around 5 degrees of Taurus, where this particular thing is just not giving me joy anymore. It's not bringing me a philosophical expansion of my life. I'm not feeling lucky. I'm not feeling optimistic. I'm not feeling like I am growing or getting anywhere, or I'm just not feeling happy. Whatever that was is going to be reviewed during this time and hopefully released from your life during this time, so that you can move towards something where you can expand more and where you can experience more joy and meaning in your life. Because Jupiter is that higher meaning. It is that higher principle of philosophical expansion. Jupiter is an energy where you want to put more emphasis on your personal truth and you want to discover who you are through Jupiter. Jupiter is about self-discovery. It's about discovering who you are through the course of your life, through learning, through growing, through experiencing, through traveling, through getting outside of yourself. All of these experiences that are Jupiterian, that you are expanding your consciousness in one way or another, can bring you wisdom. And we are reviewing also where you have not grown in your life and expanded beyond your bubble and beyond, the light that's suction cupped, on the end of your nose, whatever it is. Where have you not grown and expanded in terms of your spiritual awareness, in terms of your philosophical understanding of life, in terms of not, learning what you wanted to, or whatever it is that involves growth and expansion? Where has this not occurred in your life? And where has this been stagnant? And so really what Jupiter retrograde is a reflection on how far you've come. How far have you grown in your life? I have a song on my YouTube channel. It's called Malika's Hut. And basically we are all, staying at the hut while Jupiter is retrograde. We've traveled, we've explored, we've adventured, we have gone, we've globe trekked, we've traveled the mountains, the seas, and all of those kind of things, and we've expanded our mind and consciousness. Now it's time to come back to the hut and get in touch with our surroundings, because the polar opposite sign of Sagittarius, which is ruled by Jupiter, is Gemini, and Gemini does rule over your community and your immediate environment. It deals with connecting with the here and now, connecting with the people around you, tuning into the details of your life. And so you are looking around at where you are right now and reflecting on your journey and your pathway in life. Not necessarily traveling to the next place, but but just looking where you are, seeing where you are, taking a moment to pause. Because when planets retrograde, they offer us an opportunity to pause, to course correct, to reflect, to review whatever the planet is all about, in this case, Jupiter. So this is a moment to pause, to get in touch with our surroundings. And that's what we can. That's how we can really use this particular time. Now, September 6th is what is considered to be a Sun conjunct Mercury day. So the Sun is conjunct Mercury, and this marks that a particular point in the Mercury retrograde season when the Sun and Mercury align. And when the Sun and Mercury align, it can bring awareness to the lessons and themes that have come up for us during Mercury retrograde and whatever sign and aspects that it's making to other planets, where things are being illuminated for us with the Sun conjunct Mercury. Now, it shines a light on communication and the intellectual mind. And because Mercury is retrograde, it deals with the information that we have learned, which is subconscious. Because when Mercury goes retrograde, we go subconscious. We go into our unconscious mind. And we, review certain conversations or certain information or certain ways of thinking or, those kind of things. Certain mental approaches to our life. Certain stories and narratives that we are telling ourselves. Mercury, is the little guy in there the little guy in your head that's telling you a narrative of, what your life is and how you're living your life by either positive praise or judgments. So, what story and what narrative are you telling yourself? Because the stimulus of your thoughts, of what you're thinking, creates the nature of your reality, and reality is a perception created by your thoughts. So Mercury retrograde is a time where we are reviewing our outlook on life, or we are reviewing how our thoughts create our reality. The mind can make things positive, negative, challenging, easy, whatever it is. The mind is what does that for us. And when we can step into that, when we can change our thoughts, we can change our reality. When we can change how we, view and, distract ourselves with something or find something else to focus our attention on it, or focus on something, or do whatever that can really impact our reality. So the Sun conjunct Mercury deals with self-expression. It deals with expressing yourself to the world. The Sun, the Sun is self-expression. The Sun is a sense of inner power and courage and confidence in you that you want to share your unique individual spark and light to the world. And when you add Mercury to the picture, we want to communicate that. So it's a beautiful conjunction to communicate whatever you have the desire and the inspiration and the passion to communicate through either writing, speaking, singing, whatever. It's like a portal and it's like a doorway that just is an opening for us to express whatever we have the desire to express in our world. So that's how we can use this energy. It's great for work that involves details because Mercury is very logical, very rational. So it's good for detailed work, putting our nose to the grindstone and getting those kind of things done. And it's great energy for learning, for developing a more curious outlook for our life, more open outlook. So, learning new things. The Mercury trine Jupiter was a great energy for that. So the mind is going to become more activated. It's a great opportunity to find ways of stimulating our mind and keeping our mind busy, learning new information, taking in new information. That's going to become very important because, our minds are going to become much more active, much more busy, sped up in a way. And so we want to keep it occupied. We don't want to, keep it bored. We don't want to be bored and not stimulated during this particular time. So we want to find things that we can engage in that can stimulate us. So your thoughts and ideas will also flow smoothly and easily, probably at this time, where you can tap into your mental power. Your mind might be sharper. You may find that you're more intellectually savvy, more open to learning. Your mind works better, that you can learn quicker, easier, more efficiently. Maybe you just know more, whatever it may be for you. Short distance travel is also a positive thing to engage in. Now, the other little thing for the week, the other aspect, the other transit that I want to touch on is on September 8th. We have the Sun trining Jupiter. And so, this is very similar to Mercury trine Jupiter. So, increased abundance is important, is a big theme here. But also a need for freedom, a need for liberation in some way or another, where if we've been tied down, where we couldn't have this or couldn't do this, or we've had, a boundary placed upon us, because Jupiter rules Sagittarius, and one of the songs that I associate for Sagittarius is Don't Fence Me In. And so freeing up your mind, freeing up your soul, freeing up your spirit are all positive things that we can do when the Sun is trining Jupiter. So finding that freedom in our life. We may feel luckier. There may be more good fortune coming into our life, or just feel more positively, optimistically about life in general. And where can we, allow our soul to roam free, to do whatever we want to? That brings us that sense of purpose and joy to our life. So there may be opportunities for self-improvement, personal growth, all those kind of things that may come up. So personal growth opportunities may come up around this time, or it's a good time to take advantage of personal growth opportunities. The other invitation that I would say is getting outside of yourself. Again, broadening your horizons, looking at, broadening your perspective, engaging in, learning new things, putting your mental focus on something that you don't usually put it on, learning a new topic that you don't know much about, engaging in an activity that you don't usually do, you never tried before, watching a new movie, anything that you can get to expand out of your current way of doing things and enlarge your perspective of your life is a positive thing to make the most out of this time. So that's really what I want to share about the astrology for this week. I hope that you found this video helpful, and I hope that you'll refer back to this video throughout the week. Bye for now, everyone.